The feds are investigating a youth baseball company that was created and owned by the Major League Baseball Players Association for misusing millions of dollars. Is nothing sacred? Not even the kids. The MLBPA is the union for all of the big baseball stars you love. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, all of them. Now, they created a company called Players Way, which is based in Florida. The company has spent $3.9 million, but has not brought in nearly that much money, which is, of course, what made the feds perk up. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn, yes, the very same one that brought you last week's big sports scandal with the Mafia and the NBA, they're also investigating this, according to ESPN. Players Way launched in 2019 as the official youth development initiative of the MLBPA, and it's supported by both current and former players. If you have a kid that plays club sports of any kind, you know how this works, but maybe not this part. The executive director of the association, Tony Clark, allegedly approved big, fat, six-figure payments to Players Way, which an ex-official called a, quote, total waste of money. Then, last year, an anonymous complaint was filed accusing Clark of self-dealing, misuse of resources, and abuse of power. It also added claims of nepotism because his daughter once worked for the group. As if that weren't enough, Players Way held only about a dozen events between 2019 and 2024, but once word of the investigation got to them, surprise, all of a sudden, more events. Now, no charges have been filed yet, but this is one I'm going to be sure to keep an eye on. One of the most watched elections in the country is just 4 days away, and it's a dead heat. In the New Jersey governor's race, Democratic Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill, who led by a whopping 20 points this summer, is now ahead by just a single percentage point against her Republican rival, Jack Ciattarelli, 49 to 48%, according to the latest Emerson poll. Now, if past is prelude, Ciattarelli could be in even better shape. Here's why. In 2021, a widely viewed polling average undercounted his performance against now term-limited Governor Phil Murphy by 5 points. In 2024, President Trump lost the state to Kamala Harris, but performed better than anyone would have expected, losing by less than 6 points. But before the Ciattarelli campaign starts blowing up their red, white, and blue balloons, it bears mentioning that early voting data is looking pretty good for Mikie Sherrill. 54% of votes cast early have been registered Democrats, and just 28% are registered Republicans. As I've talked about on the pod a few times now, New Jersey, as well as Virginia, that governor's race there, and the New York City's mayoral race, they're all being closely watched for any signs that could help handicap next year's midterms for either party nationally. Who's responsible for a first grader shooting his teacher? That's the question at the heart of a headline-grabbing civil suit in Virginia. Abby Zwerner survived the shooting, and now she's suing the school's principal, claiming she repeatedly ignored warnings from multiple teachers that the boy had a gun, allegedly saying at one point he has little pockets. Lawyers for the now former principal, Ebony Parker, argued, quote, no one could have imagined that a 6-year-old first-grade student would bring a firearm into school. Agreed. No one would imagine that. But the point the victim is making is that she didn't have to. Allegedly, she was told, again, multiple times. And it seems that she might have a case. The school district's director of human resources testified that days after the shooting, Parker admitted to her that she was told the boy had a gun in his backpack 90 minutes before the incident occurred. Now, this is a civil case, but Parker is also facing criminal charges of child neglect. The boy's mother was sentenced in 2023 to 2 years in prison on a similar charge for her son taking the 9mm handgun out of her purse. The child was not charged and is currently being raised by relatives.
For more on this story and everything else you could possibly want to know, check out the New York Post in print or online. And don't forget, like and subscribe to the New York POSTcast wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. You'll be glad you did.